everybody. Hello, the internet. Hello, the YouTubes. Welcome to Enter the Popverse. I am Ashley Victoria Robinson, your host and the video producer here in the Popverse, which is a virtual realm created by ReadPop, where we celebrate the best in TV, movies, and comics. As always, for all things Popverse, be sure you are going to thepopverse.com and get yourself a Popverse membership. So you can get everything that we are up to at all times, especially when we're doing wild things like running around conventions. If you were here last week, you saw our first ever attempt at a pre-recorded show. Whew, didn't go too bad because we were all at Emerald City Comic-Con. I want to let you know that con season is officially open. So some of the places that you can find us coming up. If you are a Southern California person, you can find myself and my beloved Tiffany Babb at WonderCon in Anaheim, California, of course. But if you are a not Southern California person and you are a Chicago, Midwest, East Coast person, you can also find ReadPop at C2E2. And everything C2E2 can be found at C2E2.com. How fun and easy is that? Shout out to Tom Trainer getting the first comment in today. Hello, internet. You know, girl, it's been 2 weeks since I've done this. I didn't remember how I started it. And so we're just saying hello to the internet, our favorite medium in this pink and perfect world that we have here in the Popverse. By the way, I wish you all knew how long it took me to figure out how to make it this purple because it was a long process. Okay. Since we've been here live, there has been a ton of fun geeky news out there in the Popverse. So we want to get right to it. I simply could not do this alone. I don't have the emotional fortitude for it. I don't have the brain power for it. So I am bringing back everybody's favorite guest here in Enter the Popverse, Graeme McMillan. Welcome, Graeme.
Everybody's favorite guest is a lie, but thank you for the lie.
It's absolutely not, particularly in our Slack. You are beloved and you are popular, and we love you very much. I want to ask you, because I've had you here before, how was your Emerald City Comic-Con?
My Emerald City Comic-Con was delightful, in large part because of you. I got to have lunch with you. Breakfast with you even. Got to have lunch with you as well. But we had a fun breakfast on Saturday. We got to the trivia night on Friday night as well. Please tell me you're going to tell people about the trivia night?
Can you believe they let us do the trivia night?
I still can't quite believe they let us do the trivia night. I can't quite believe the trivia night happened as it was. People who are watching this who do not know, there was a trivia night at Emerald City Comic-Con
on Friday.
Where it was Friday night, yeah, and it ended with everyone. What were they singing along to? All I know was that the room was standing room only, and everyone was singing along to something. What was it?
Initially, we did a theme song round, and everyone sang to the theme songs, and then we had to do math, and by we I mean Graeme and Ileana had to do math and decide who won. And then I played Let's Get Down to Business from Mulan, and everyone just sang to it. And then we put on the Chinese language one that Jackie Chan sings, and a bunch of people tried to sing to that. It was a lot. It's my favorite thing I did at Emerald City Comic-Con, honestly.
I think it was my favorite part of Emerald City Comic-Con as well. It was kind of amazing. Also, two people trying to do math in front of an audience full of, a room full of people, it's really stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really did not like that part.
Tiffany Babb, who also joined us there, said, "What a special evening." A special, I think, is the correct word.
Special on so many levels.
Yes, in all senses, in every possible sense of the word. Tom Trainer says that sounds amazing.
It was. It was one of those things I wish someone had filmed it, but I think also you had to be there. Do you know
I
what I mean?
agree.
If someone filmed it, it wouldn't have made any sense.
I was gonna say I don't know if the chaos would have translated. As well. But you know what? Maybe if we're really lucky at New York City Comic-Con, we'll get to reprise it. Get those tweet requests in now at Popverse Says if you were there and
every single show you're at, you need to do more.
Well, we'll see. I also want to shout out Chris Arendt. It's me, Chris. I will tell you, friends, we are going to do some Mario chat later in the show. But since Chris evoked it, I also want to give a quick shout out to Box Lunch, because Box Lunch sent me this amazing Yoshi shirt to wear. Yoshi is high-key my very favorite Mario character, and this was right on top when I opened the parcel, so I was so happy. So thank you, Box Lunch. I also feel like I had this shirt as a little girl running around in the Canadian woods. It's giving me very mid-90s flashbacks.
You're getting a particular round of nostalgia.
Yes. Oh, thank you, my phone, for letting me know it's time to talk about our first topic. Also, good morning, Jake Hefner.
Hey,
Graham, I could talk to you all day, every day, and someday we'll probably do.
as we've just proven for like Emerald City.
Someday we'll probably just do an Enter the Potverse. It's just you and me talking, and we'll see how long we could go. Like 6-8 hours, I'm guessing minimum. But I did bring you for your genius and expertise, of course. What's going on with Dawn of DC? There has been so much that is both true and questionably true.
Dawn of DC, just today alone, they have announced, count it off, in May there will be a previously unknown free comic book called Dawn of DC Primer, which is following up on one of the teasers from the end of Dark Crisis of Earths. In June, there will be the first issue of Steelworks by Michael Dorn, of all people, and Samurai Badri. There's also going to be Hot Girl issue 1 by Jadzia Axelrod and artist whose name I'm going to slaughter, and I'm really sorry. Amanke Nulapan, I think is how you pronounce their name.
It's okay. We do our best with names, and if we do a bad job, there's no disrespect meant, and you can very politely correct us. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm genuinely sorry because I think I have destroyed your name. There's also going to be the 800 issues of Wonder Woman and The Flash, which are the final issues of those series as well, because they're ending, and then they're both Flash and Wonder Woman are being relaunched in September with all new creative teams. The Flash is becoming a cosmic horror book by Cy Spurrier and Mike Deodato Jr. It's Mike Deodato Jr.'s first Marvel DC work in 20 years at least. And Wonder Woman by Tom King and Daniel Simperi.
Oh,
that's all today. All that
you
news
missed
is just
Tiffany
today.
Babb's Detective Chimp at number 10. So that's 10 announcements, by the way. This morning.
I don't think Detective Chimp is an announcement. I think Detective Chimp is someone having fun with us. Detective Chimp. So on the timeline graphics, the last timeline graphic came out in January, and someone realized that if you put brightness and contrast and play with the levels, you could see a Justice League logo, and it became a big thing. And in this one, if you play with brightest levels, you find Detective Chimp on the graphic, just going shh at the audience.
Do you think the first one was just like a Photoshop layer that somebody forgot to turn off?
Yes.
Or do you think it's always been intentional?
I think the Justice League one might be a mistake.
Uh-huh.
Although there's something else in that one, which is there's a skull visible in that one, which is really weird. And on the new one, they've also changed the contrast slightly, and I have a whole theory that there's something being revealed there that I've also written up for Popverse, but I don't think it's gone live, so I don't know if I could say it. Either look at the site or keep looking at the site, and you'll find out what my whole paranoid rambling is. But yeah, there's like today alone, there's all these Dawn of DC announcements. It's nuts.
Is there something for you specifically that you are most looking forward to about the announcements, or maybe most intrigued by, even if it's not your fandom?
And so many different levels. Michael Dorn writing Steel is insane to me. And
Steel's having a moment right now because Steel is also in Superman and Lois right now.
But also, and I don't mean this as a dig, I did not know Michael Dorn was a writer. I'm genuinely curious what Michael Dorn is going to do with the book.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love John Henry Irons a lot. He's one of my favorite characters. I am a big fan. Can't wait to see that book. Really curious what Cy Spurrier is doing with Flash as a cosmic horror book.
Yeah.
Like my instinctive reaction is that makes no sense, but I really like Cy Spurrier. So sure. And also, you know, I didn't think Immortal Hulk was going to work, and Immortal Hulk was
so good.
Yeah, right. But when they announced it, I was like, Hulk as a horror book? Nah, not for me. And it was amazing. So, you know, I'm willing to sit back and eat my words and my suspicion later. Wonder Woman with Tom King and Daniel Simperi is going to be nuts. And if the internet has already seen the high concept behind that series, it's going to be nuts.
I think it's
definitely.
Yeah. Shout out to
Popverse.
Whoever's managing the Popverse account right now, who manages to be both informative and drag Graham at the same time. That's the level that I aspire to. I wanted to say about Tom King's Wonder Woman. I definitely think that might have happened on the back of the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow success announcement with the James Gunn kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, Tom King's having a moment now as well. Let's just be honest.
100%.
You know, Supergirl has had this wonderful second life because of the DC Studios news. And also, Tom's working with DC Studios.
Yeah.
You know, it makes sense to give Tom one of the big characters at this point. And Wonder Woman is the one he hasn't really touched yet. So
Mhm.
sure, it makes sense. I'm really curious what's going to happen with that. I'm really curious what people are going to make of a political Wonder Woman at this point.
As if Wonder Woman hasn't always been political. You can tweet me
Okay.
at Ashley Robinson.
I was going to fight you there, but you know what I mean. Don't you get me into trouble.
No, I do. I also shout out to Carnage YJ who says, I love your work. I'm assuming they're talking about Graeme because don't we all love Graeme's work?
Well, they could love your work.
Nah. Honestly, all compliments are currently for you. Before I let you go, Graeme, I also want to ask, do you suspect Dawn of DC is going to be new reader friendly, or do you think this is something that people are going to have to be kind of buried in the current continuity to get the most out of?
I think it's all very intensely new reader friendly. And also new readers from different places. Hot Girl is being written by Jadzia Axelrod, who wrote Galaxy the Pretty Star last year, which is
Also,
one of
speaking
DC's
of Star Trek names and references, Jadzia,
Jadzia,
outstanding.
But that was one of DC's YA books last year, and it was a big hit. But it features Galaxy in the DCU canon debut as well. So it's building on that. Bringing in Worf to write a Steel comic is quite clearly you guys might not have thought about Steel before, but you guys like Michael Dorn, right? Come join us. So it
Michael
only
Dorn
makes
is having a moment because Picard.
right.
Is that right?
I know.
Everyone's having a nice time.
Everyone's having a moment. It's nice for them. Yeah, I think Dawn of DC is DC definitely trying to go, okay, everyone, all of you come on board. Like we'll pick you up. We'll do the best we can to get everyone on board. And good for them.
The Primer comic also gives me Blackest Night issue 0, which came out, a million years ago on Free Comic Book Day and was never reprinted in any of the collections. So I'm hoping, because that was such a smart move for that event, that maybe this is sort of mimicking that intentionally.
I am really hoping that the Primer is not a solo thing. That Primer is not standalone, that they do this on a regular basis. That they realize that Free Comics really can bring people on. The other thing is the Primer's coming out 2 weeks after Free Comic Book Day, which has a different DC Free Comic Book happening. Night Terrors is coming out for Free Comic Book Day, and then the Primer's coming out on the May 15th. So just 10 days later.
It's a smart and an interesting move because obviously we've seen this shift around retailers and publishers' relationship to retailers, particularly with the lockdown situation that we had in 2020. This sort of ongoing diamond question mark. And with DC having a free comic on Free Comic Book Day for the big event when a bunch of people are going to be coming, and then 2 weeks later to potentially drive more readers in, it's really smart from a brick and mortar perspective.
Yeah, it's really smart to say retailers we're investing in you.
Yeah. Graeme, I have to banish you back to the internet. Thank you for joining me.
Bye.
Tell everyone, wait. Tell everyone where they can follow you, where they can give you money, where they can read your
where can they give me money? You can follow me on Popverse. That's where I write for. You can find me on Twitter as well at Graeme M at GRE. I can never spell my own name right. At GRAEMEM. That's where you can find me. And otherwise, Ashley will tell everyone where you can find me anyway. I'm at Popverse.
There you go. And while you're over there on Twitter, tell Graeme to get on Instagram because I can never tag you in anything. It makes me very sad.
Sorry.
Thank you for joining us today in the Popverse for more Dawn of DC. Bye. Cut you off. Too bad. So sad. Dawn of DC is going to be something else, my friends. Thank you, Chris Aaron, for saying, what if doing the Dawn of DC free comic, not a Free Comic Book Day, means they'll make it free to more than just comic stores? Ooh, that is very interesting to me. And that also makes me wonder, I really like to extol newsstands and grocery store comics because that's where I started. I used to get all of my Archies at the grocery store because I think my parents thought it was better than candy. And the idea that you might be able to get free comics in a not traditional comic book space, I think is fascinating. Sorry, I banished Graeme because I would have liked his take. Oh, wait, Graeme, what do you think about this? Oh, you're muted. I knew we were going to have sound.
I muted myself. I'm sorry. I would love if they were doing free comic books to other places. That'd be really, really interesting. And Chris is a genius for thinking of that because I definitely didn't.
Thank you.
Woo. Wow. That was rude. I was going to say, in theory, it's free to whoever orders through Lunar. So it could be free for any space. libraries or
Schools?
wherever. Schools, yeah, just schools or just through Luna. I guess they could, right?
I think theoretically. I don't
Oh,
know. I've
see,
been in comics retail for so long.
this is where we're going to start rumors. DC is giving free comic books away on street corners.
just just walk to their Burbank location. Oh, Tiffany Bad bringing up a great point. Walmart's. So
Yeah,
yeah.
any retailer. Yeah, it's the potential is really, really big for doing that right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, QR code ahead of the Flash movie. That would be smart. Actually, a lot of the cinemas in Los Angeles will have little pop-up events inside when there are comic book movies coming out where different stores can set up and sell or share comics. And I think that that's a great idea. This is so funny. Jake Everett says Ashley's full of mischief this morning. You know, I had a lot of dreams that I was going to die on my flight back from Emerald City Comic Con, and I didn't. And so I think that that's the reason why we are having such a silly time here this morning. Tom Trainer says also with a list of local stores. Okay, I want to challenge everybody in the chat right now. If you have a local comic book store that you think folks should be checking out for this free DC event, for free comic book day, for all of their upcoming comic book needs with things like Shazam coming out, tag their name in the chats because there's going to be lots of people and what city you're in. Lots of people who are interested in this stuff, but sometimes there is a barrier to entry. Since we're talking about movies, I feel like this is the appropriate time to talk more about movie trailers. We got a ton of fun movie trailers this week. I want to talk with you about them. I want to get your reaction. So please, if you have seen any of these movies, please let me know your thoughts. Happy to bring them up on screen. One, I didn't wear this Yoshi shirt for nothing, my friends. Ba-ding, ba-ding. I had to yell. What's the Yoshi sound? Like the tongue yell. There we go. Because the Super Mario trailer dropped yesterday. The final Super Mario trailer. We've obviously seen a couple Super Mario trailers. It is hitting cinemas at the beginning of April. So we are like 3 weeks away. With the success of Sonic, I'm also really curious to see if this Mario debate is going to light the internet on fire about like, is the Sonic video game movie better than the Mario video game movie? Or perhaps the other way inverse, because video game movies have been something that I know we have felt conflicted about over the years. And it's been so fun to see Sonic really pick that up. And I think Mario is going to run away from that. My favorite thing about the new trailer personally is all of the Rainbow Road footage. I said this on Instagram Live yesterday. My favorite Mario Kart levels are always Rainbow Roads. And I know they're considered to be the hardest ones, but they're one of the only ones that I don't crash consistently on. So seeing Rainbow Road repped in the movie like really made my little video game nerd heart sing. Tom Trainer says the trailer looks sick. Voice actor drama aside, it looks like an absolute blast. I'm so glad that you brought this up because there has been, and again, Sonic, I think, kind of opened the door on this, a lot of discussion around, do we stunt cast voices? Do we bring in the video game voices? And if we're stunt casting, do we make them sound like the video game voices? Which sort of raises a lot of questions about how we value performances, which art forms we hold up closer or higher than the others we value a little bit more. And how much do we have to be beholden to the source material? And I'm a type of person who really puts a lot of value in like reading the book and understanding the book before you read the adaptation. And I think video games is very similar in this way. I'm also just appreciating people appreciate video games as an art form that stands on its own and standing up for voice actors. Editorial Cartoonist says, what would you rate the trailer out of 10? Okay, so out of a potential 10 Yoshi eggs, I am going to give this final trailer an 8. I think of all of the Super Mario Brothers trailers that I've seen so far, I liked this one the best. I liked actually getting to hear a little bit more from Anya Taylor-Joy. I am a huge Anya Taylor-Joy fan. I will defend New Mutants. Tweet me at Ashley V. Robinson. The V is very important. I think she's an outstanding Magic. And I like her take on Peach now that we're getting to hear a little bit more about her take and like her character's point of view in the movie. And I also like that they're making her a little more active than we're used to seeing. I also like that the teaser trailer opens with Luigi because Green Mario deserves the spotlight. Luigi's Mansion is exceptional, and Luigi's a really, really fun character. So I think I'm going to give it a solid 8. Thank you, Popverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got exactly 8 little Yoshi eggs for me. Thank you. I'll give you a round of applause for that. If anyone agrees or disagrees, you can drop your rating. You don't have to use the emojis, but if you do, I'll be impressed. Popverse also says, if we did a Mario Kart tournament at a con, would you play against Ashley? Ooh, do you want to fight me in a Mario Kart tournament? I always play as Yoshi. It might shock you to learn. And I always play as little Yoshi Vespa, scooter, motorcycle, with the triangle red sail. And I always play as red Yoshi because red is my favorite color. So, like I said, when we started, Yoshi's my favorite Mario character. So I'm honestly like, I'm here for as much Yoshi content as possible. The other thing I want to say about the trailer before we move on to another animated trailer that we got this week is I thought it was so cool to see Mario and Donkey Kong, who's technically the son of Donkey Kong because Mario kills the original Donkey Kong in the video games. It's fine. I liked seeing those two characters side by side, and it seems like they're going to be co-opting and like working together cooperatively in the movie. I thought that was so much fun. That really, really made my heart sing. I can't wait to see all the cosplay that comes out of the new Peach suit. And of everything that we've seen so far leading up to the Super Mario movie, kind of like Tom Trainer said, there's been, a lot of discussion and a little bit, I would like incredibly low level controversy. This is the most excited I've been. And maybe it's because Super Mario World just opened, but to quote Graeme and I from earlier, Mario is having a moment. Dun, dun, dun. Tom Trainer also says, someone is preparing Mario for research for a Mario lesson. Okay, that's a reference to my podcast Geek History lesson. Have we done a Mario lesson? Not yet. Are we thinking about doing one? Who can say? In addition to Mario, we also got another incredible animated trailer, and I want to share some of that info with you. Look at this. We got it for the TMNT. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem released a trailer hours before Mario did. I'm going to scroll all the way from the bottom so that you can see the incredible, how cool is this poster that we see right here. So I have to admit, TMNT, I think, is in a glut of excellent content right now. I think The Last Ronin was so good. I think the Saturday Morning Adventures comic is so good. I also want to tease here that we did talk to Eric Burnham, who writes the Saturday Morning Adventures comics at New York Comic Con. And I know that that interview is releasing right here on the Popverse YouTube channel very, very soon. So watch out for that. And then we got this trailer and this sick poster the other day. It is definitely following in the footsteps of Spider-Verse, embracing younger characters, having younger actors, and really leaning into the fact that we are called the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I love that the trailer also goes out of its way to establish a new visual language. One of the things that I sort of love about this glut of Turtles content is that it's all tonally different and all stylized different. The overlay in the like sketchy comic book art definitely gives me Spider-Verse vibes, like I mentioned. It also gives me Peanuts movie vibes, where they did that with a lot of their expressions and some speech bubbles. That's also high key like a great movie. Don't sleep on the new Peanuts movie from a few years ago. It's very, very good. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, it's the Seth Rogen produced animated TMNT project. I love that Seth Rogen is using his power and his influence to be this incredible comic book tastemaker that we have. Like Preacher, Invincible, he's making all of these things happen. He's also providing the voice of Bebop. This is also a star-studded cast. Like everyone under the sun who's not in Super Mario is in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. And if the lesson that we're all going to take from Spider-Verse is that you can do high art of genre characters in an incredible style and give it the recognition it deserves, I'm very, very here for this shifting paradigm, because I think animation is not given its due a lot of times. I'm also going to leave you with my Turtles hot take. Best turtle, Donatello. There you go. I want to leave this trailer discussion with editorial cartoonist who says, who do you think will be in the next Super Mario movie? Probably everyone who was in the first Super Mario movie. You know who I would love to see in an upcoming Super Mario movie, assuming that this first one does gangbusters, and I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. I want to see, this is for my Super Smash Bros. Melee fans, Roy and Marth, because I love Roy and Marth. Also, I want to remind you, if you want any more deep dives, any more details, more than what I've provided you with here, you can find more stuff always at thepopverse.com. Okay, so let me see. So far, we have talked DC, we have talked Super Mario Brothers, and we have talked Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think the way to round out our discussion is if we talk some Marvel news. Okie dokie. So unfortunately, no Marvel trailer to share with you this week. Devastating. I know, but I have a feeling we haven't heard the last of them, and we'll be getting some more stuff from them recently. But we do have a Marvel casting announcement, which both is and is not surprising, I guess I will say. You know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. It was announced that John Bernthal will be joining Daredevil Reborn. The Punisher himself is coming back. And I want to let you know that here in the Popverse, we actually broke this story. We broke the story all the way back in August of last year. And you bet I came with receipts. So let's listen. Can you believe that is from C2E2 of, oh, no sound. Okay. Well, let me see if I can pull that back up again, but I will remind you. Of course, now you can hear it, now that I don't want you to hear it. Okay. We'll try this again. Do. This, super easy. This, we're gonna not watch that.
All right, since you're already collecting the Disney check and they brought back Daredevil, Kingpin, just signed Punisher, when are we getting Night Nurse back?
Okay, so
They don't
I
have to fill
found
out
out.
WCs or nothing.
Yes, I found out yesterday because I hadn't heard that announcement, but I found out yesterday that the Punisher was happening again. So I feel like it's my second chance because it was the only one of the shows that I wasn't in, and I love John Bernthal. So let's all make it happen collectively, guys.
Okay, now we've all seen it and we have all heard it. So that was back last year in August at C2E2. So now we have confirmation that John Bernthal is coming back in Daredevil Born Again per Hollywood Reporter and all of that stuff. I think this is super interesting because there is the ongoing discussion of, is Disney Plus going to keep their MCU content PG-13? Because on Netflix, I would contend that a lot of the content in Daredevil and certainly in Punisher is closer to an American rating of R. And I want to specify that with an American rating versus like another country. Daredevil, I definitely think you can tell a amazing Daredevil story without it being hard R. Punisher, I'm not as familiar with Punisher, but I would say based on my experience with Punisher and the Punisher television show, I think that is going to be a little more challenging ultimately in the end. But I do think John Bernthal is a really, really wonderful actor. And I do think John Bernthal is really, really wonderful in this part. And it's very classic MCU, especially post-Disney acquisition, to have multiple characters or multiple villains showing up in a single property. I mean, cast your mind all the way back to Winter Soldier. That was when we introduced Sam. That was when we introduced Bucky. We had Cap and Nat teaming up. So this to me feels very much like, okay, so we're going to use this. We're going to introduce Punisher. We're going to see how that goes. And we'll potentially spin him off from there. A more recent example of this is, of course, when we got a chance to see Daredevil make his MCU appearance in, of course, Spider-Man, and then in She-Hulk with the yellow suit. I really like his She-Hulk appearance. I think that's probably my favorite version of his introduction into the MCU, but of all of the Marvel Netflix characters who could have popped up in Daredevil Born Again, I will say, personally, my money would not have been on the Punisher. So I don't know if we're going to get Daredevil Born Again or if we're going to get Deadpool first, but either or, both of those projects are going to be a really interesting tonal proving ground for like what these characters can get up to when we bring them into the MCU proper, when Disney is, you know, putting all of their ratings and practices down. But I like John Bernthal. I think his portrayal of Frank Castle is really, really good. And I think this is some of the more exciting casting news that we've got from Marvel in a long time. The shows also start shooting, I know, in the next couple weeks. So it's probably a chance that a lot of this is going to be shooting outside, which is why it was announced. All right, why don't we close the show out with some more fun Marvel stuff? I mentioned at the top of the show that we were just in Emerald City Comic Con. And while we were in Emerald City Comic Con, we had an incredible opportunity to get to interview a lot of really talented comic book creators. Those are going to be releasing here on the Popverse YouTube channel, of course, over the coming weeks and days and months. But I wanted to bring you a sneak peek. So this is not a finished edit, but it's a pretty good one, of my chat with Humberto Ramos, who most recently worked on Strange Academy, which is so, so good. If you like Runaways, if you like Gotham Academy, you got to go check it out. It's so, so fun. Worked on Impulse, worked on Spider-Man, and we got really deep down on why he loves Spider-Man so much. So I'm going to share that interview with you right now. Hi, this is Ashley Victoria Robinson coming to you live from the Popverse here at Emerald City Comic Con, and I am here with the legendary artist, the man, the myth, the legend behind Impulse, Runaways, the amazing and the spectacular Spider-Man, Crimson, and so much more, Humberto Ramos. How is your Emerald City Comic Con so far?
I'm shocked. You know I'm all. It's actually, yeah. So I'm shocked. I'm so happy to be here. I love the city. I love the show. So it's good to be back. So thanks for having me.
Welcome back. I want to start with Spider-Man, of course. You are in a really elite class of Spider-Man artists who have had a chance to kind of return to Spider-Man, tell different types of stories for Spider-Man. What is fun or challenging about revisiting a character that you've already worked on before?
When I first started drawing comic books, I had this goal to once be the artist on The Amazing Spider-Man or any Spider-Man book. And so I always find it fun, and I always try to find a way to come back. I mean, I don't know, maybe people, they don't like me being there, but I can tell you that I will find my way back to Spider-Man at some point. So every time that I go back, it's a joy, because that's a character that I grew up with. On TV, on the 70s show or the 60s show, that the groovy cartoon show.
Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends?
No. That's for kids. No, I'm saying the one before the 60s.
Oh, yeah.
show. And of course the comics. So that's the character that I grew up with. So I feel this personal enjoyment of being back to the book. So every time that I go back and see these different takes on the character, or where the character is, his where with Peter's status is at the point that where I take the book back, it's always shocks me and surprise me, and I always try to bring up something new to the book. I try to improve my work every day. I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years already, but every day, every week, I know there's new artists and new ways to tell the story, and I try to bring those to my personal or my own way to do storytelling, and I hope that I can actually make that happens in the book that I'm drawing at the time. And being Spider-Man is more important for me to do so. So that's my take on your question.
So since we're talking about Spider-Man, you mentioned that Spider-Man is one of your favorite. What do you like best about drawing Spider-Man? Web slinging, the costume, fighting the bad guys. What's the most fun for you?
I find a lot of joy on Peter's life. Because when I was a kid, I used to picture myself as Peter, the high school Peter at that
Yes.
time, right? Not the ultimate Peter, but Peter, the original Peter at high school, because I was at high school at that time. So being that guy who never had a triumph alone. There's something back on the side, or that doesn't work the way it should be.
Always.
There's some problems he has to solve, even when in the public side, everybody cheers for you and blah. That's something that I always relate to, and being this kind of loner or loser in a way, it gives.
So sad.
No. Actually, for me, it was great. That's why I like the Peter side of the story a lot, because I the way I read the book back in the day, it wasn't about Spider-Man adventures, which are pretty cool to read and see, but what makes Spider-Man important for me was the guy behind the mask. So I find a lot of joy drawing Peter.
Drawing Peter Parker. I love that. That's so beautiful. You're going to make me cry while we're standing here talking about comics. You also recently worked on Strange Academy, and you've worked on Runaways and Peter Parker, as you were talking about. Sometimes a high school student, usually a younger person. Is there something about drawing young characters or coming of age stories that you really like?
Actually, I've been asking myself that question a lot. Because it's not only, as you just said, Runaways and Strange Academy now, but I've did the Champions too.
Impulse?
Impulse, of course, and I've done a lot of the younger X-Men cast and some of the Avenger cast with Avengers Initiative and that. And my other career-own books, they're all about, or most of them all are about kids.
We're
like
gonna get to
Crimson
Crimson.
and
Yeah.
Runaways and Fairy Quest and blah. So I guess it's this nostalgia that I have about being a kid and growing up and not being able to have all those adventures that I hope I had. Because I'm a city kid. So I used to see these movies. When I originally see Goonies, because I saw it when it first opened, I was a kid being, it's not that something I said, I remember that movie. No, I watched that movie and all these movies, like E.T. and all those movies, being a kid myself.
Yes.
So I was dreaming of having those adventures. And well, never had a chance to
be a
rock.
superhero?
To be
Yeah.
pretty much. And so I guess that's where I found the inspiration to come up with all these ideas about kids and how they deal with problems themselves. Yeah.
Okay, so you talked about Crimson. I love Crimson. Our editor, Chris Arendt, loves Crimson. So the big question, of course, is, are we going to see Crimson on screen someday?
Well, it's not really up to me. I don't really know how to do that work. It's a question that a lot of people have asked me, so I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that people feels that strong about the story and that you guys feel that it could be a good product to see on platforms and that. But again, I don't know how to do that job. I know it's a really hard job to do, to put your proposal and go to studios. I don't know really how it works. I don't have an agent. I never got one, and my life is pretty much filled with drawing comics. I'm the kind of guy that still um, wakes up early in the morning and sit down some work all day.
How early?
6:30 ish.
That's the middle of the night.
So and I do that, all day long up to midnight. So and in between I have s- so-called life.
Yes.
And so I'm pretty filled with that. So I don't have maybe I don't have that big of ambition to get it done. I may be hoping for somebody, some big studio guy or somebody like that to eventually realize he was a fan of Crimson or whatever thing happens, and it's like, oh, guys, in this executive meeting, like, oh, this book, I remember where, and that's the way I'm picturing that it is going to happen, if it happens at all. If it doesn't happen at all, so but I wish it happens too. Yes.
Okay, so if you're watching this and you're a movie executive, I need you to contact Humberto and get the Crimson movie underway, because I either need that or more comics to come for that story. Humberto, the last thing I have to ask you, because here in the Popverse we celebrate the best in TV, movies, and comics. What are you geeking out about right now that you're not working on? Dun dun dun. I know you're a workaholic, but
I'm happy to be doing the Strange Comedy Academy book. Scotty has announced that our time is coming to an end.
yes.
And it's sad, but in the same way it's exciting, because that means I'm gonna do something else.
Yeah.
And the something else is really exciting to me. I can't tell what I'm gonna do next,
Okay.
but I can tell you this. This is what I can tell you. I'm still exclusive with Marvel. I renewed my contract,
Congratulations.
last October, and I'm happy because I'm a Marvel kid. So I thank to the other publishers that contacted me, and I'm humbled for that. And but Marvel is not just the company that I work with, but the people that I work with is my family. And you can get better from that. And so saying that, I'll be doing a book for Marvel, of course. But also I'm gonna find a little in between time to do a career on.
That's exciting.
Yeah. It's gonna be what you just heard. It's if you heard this interview, you know that I like drawing stories about kids, and so it's gonna be about that.
Amazing. Humberto Ramos, thank you so much for joining us here in the Popverse today.
No, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me here, and read comic books.
That's right.
How much fun was that? Oh, what a sweetie. I really love legacy characters and young superhero characters. Nope, didn't want to do that. Thank you so much. And getting to hear how passionate Humberto is about that type of storytelling and how excited he still is to make new comics was one of the coolest things that I got to do at Emerald City Comic Con. And behold, we have a couple more comments that I didn't get to earlier. I want to chat with them before I send everybody away. Tom Trainer says maybe Punisher will take the place of Nuke. That's interesting because, as we know, not all of the characters from the Marvel Netflix universe are coming over into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A TBD, I don't really know if we announced if Nuke was coming back or not, but I think as a character who could potentially be an adversary to this new generation of Disney Plus Marvel superheroes, I think
narratively, that's a really smart idea. And that would be a really good choice. Again, any new John Bernthal on screen is good for me. And, you know, Thunderbolts is coming up, and Thunderbolts in some incarnations also has Punisher as a member, as we all remember from Marvel now. I know right now the lineup looks like it's going to be Captain America and Cap adjacent characters, but maybe that we're soft. Maybe that's only like the first Thunderbolts lineup. Maybe it's going to be like the Suicide Squad and we'll get a whole new team every undertaking. Friends, we're winding down. I've had such a good time here with all of you. I want to remind you that I'm going to be at WonderCon at the end of March, and we also have C2E2 coming up. If you want to see any of the links to anything that I talked about today, they're going to be down in the show notes, and you can find all of this and so much more over on thepopverse.com, where we are celebrating the best in TV, movies, and comics. While you're there, why not get yourself a Popverse membership so you can get access to everything that we're doing all the time from all of these events all over the world, of course. I have been Ashley Victoria Robinson. I am your host here on Enter the Popverse. And of course, I am the video producer for Read Pop. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Graeme. Thank you, Humberto Ramos. Thank you, all of you beautiful, sexy people. And I will see you next time.